What a world, D-Dread on the mic, coming in with the band reaction video because Bandai just woke up and thought, fuck it. Let's just go in and absolutely no scoping some Digimon today. So in this video, absolutely going to be kind of a bit of a blind reaction to what's on the actual ban list, my thoughts and all the good stuff. So if this is the video for you, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, then make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell because I have new videos on the reg. Still climbing to that 1K before the new year. Woo! I got a lot of grinding to do. So let's dive into this. So ban and restriction card announcement is always one of those things where it's like, are Bandai gonna go hard or they're gonna go home? And this time they went absolutely full on hard. I'm talking Akuma Raging Demon hard. So right here, we got some restrictions effective from the March the 1st, 2024 up in here. So we do have still the options to obviously play these decks at full power, and I kind of like that. But in the same breath, people aren't going to be fully invested into particular decks if they know it's going to get their wings clipped. It's just a given. So let's see what's on the list here. We got Pokemon, and yeah, the infamous egg, which is pretty much used as a staple for most blue decks. Yeah. The thing that makes this quite funny is the fact that Bandai absolutely butchered the effect so hard that every time I read the effect, I was just confused of how it freaking worked. But I know that it was pretty freaking powerful. So yeah, this is going to be restricted to 1. And the reason is because this card grants jamming by fulfilling an easy condition. It offers great consistency than other blue Digi-Eggs, which is, yeah, we know this. We know this. I mean, getting early aggression on turn 2 is, or turn 1 is banging. I mean, it's really, really good, and it's why it was pretty much used in every freaking blue deck. Everyone converted to Pokemon. Everyone just dropped the Wanyamon egg. They were like, yeah, we out of that. We out of that. We're going on to big things. But it is obviously restricted to 1. As a result, there's little reason for blue decks to use any other eggs. Yeah, we've pretty much gone through that right there. So, lucky enough, the Wanya egg is still pretty decent. It's still, staple 4. Obviously, it's a very heavy Tamer Reliant deck. And then, obviously, you can just whack this as your 5th egg. So, it's not too bad of a hit. But I kind of understand it. I understand. Giving jamming is just way too powerful in most decks. So, yeah, I'm kind of with that. This, I wasn't expecting this. Well, I was expecting it, but I didn't know they was going to do it. Anubis Mom is one of those decks where it was just too good. It was literally too good, too broken, especially with the purple engine there as well. Just basically fulfilling this, getting on plays which are just pretty broken. Yeah, I saw this coming, but it is actually interesting that they've hit a sec. I mean, before it was like rares, obviously commons, uncommons, all that source, but now we've just gone straight into sec, and this is the first sec that they've actually banned, and it's the main boss monster for the Dark Masters. So it is quite a big hit to the actual whole archetype, unless they are going to print another Pokemon. So obviously you can just still run this at 1, which is fine. But I think it's just a lesson that they can't make cards too cracked. And this right here was too cracked. So what be Bandai saying about this one? If you can send cards with Dark Masters traits to the trash even once, this card can be played many times easily and for low cost, depending on the number of copies, which combined with cards such as BT13 Craniumon makes it extremely difficult to deal with. Yes. Craniumon, basically you just can't affect it if it's using it on play, which is making this card a menace because it's just easy mill central. You're just milling yourself out, or not milling myself out, milling your opponent out. So I can see where this was an absolute menace, and once it's established, it's very hard to kind of negate its game plan from that point. In addition, there's no cost to activating the deck's trashing effect, and the number of cards trash at a time is considerable, making it difficult to deal with for decks that cannot utilize trash. So this card limits the number of deck types that can compete in this environment. thank you. I mean, we saw, we you know, we got our boy East who's dropping the weekly reports, and this brother be just chilling on top. I tell you, it's comfortable. Boy is comfortable. Boy's got a whole freaking penthouse suite up in there. So yeah, this is definitely a valid hit. It is just unfortunate that it's the main boss monster for a whole goddamn archetype, but I mean, it is what it is. Don't know how this is going to impact sales, because obviously hitting a sec, which is pretty decent, is quite wounding. Especially if you manage to get 2 of these. Oh, great. Now I gotta sell it. I gotta sell it, and I can see that this card's gonna be dirt cheap. I can't even remember who the other sec is out of this. I think it's Metal Garurumon, I think. So Metal Garurumon's gonna be obviously a sort out target, but yeah, one Apocalypse is all you want. So I probably won't go too heavy on the boxes, in my opinion. So going on to the next one is going to be your EX5 Gobomon X antibody. So we predicted this, but we predicted the Garurumon more than this. I think it's basically due to its inheritable. It's similar to Greymon X antibody, which, you know, it's just that battle protection. It's a menace. Just this guy going, just punching your face, and you're just there like John Travolta meme. You just can't do anything about it, and it's just yeah, it's a bit of a menace. And the fact that it's at this lower level, I can kind of see why it had to be clipped. It's got its own play. It's got its own digivolving. You know, searching top 4, grabbing cards. It does a lot. It definitely does a lot for level 3. Once again, it is a little bit unfortunate because it's kind of like Bandai, you understand the card design, right? Like, you must have literally, like, when you design, it's like thinking, it's a little bit too much advantage going on. in a sense, in terms of what it facilitates. But lucky enough for when you are playing Melga, Melga does have a pretty much decent line, and people are still utilizing Melga now and still taking names. This would definitely just taking it to the next level, especially combined having the blue and purple colors, just to really help you leverage kind of searching out, because now it's kind of like it's a mixture of blue and purple but separately, so you can't essentially like incorporate any form of like trainings or so forth, because they are kind of, you know, the different colors compared to this is obviously dual color. So let's have a look at what's the reasoning for all this restriction here. So in a Garurumon deck, this card offers both higher consistency and speed than other cards. Given, I mean, I'm sure that was the intention when you essentially designed the card. It's like this is not a shock here, Bandai. In addition, this card's inherent effects grants protection effects that makes it difficult for the opponent to respond from the beginning of the game. It freaking does, because when you are trying to, say, get rid of a Melga Ace, unless you're killing it with a freaking option, you can't swing into it because it'll just battle protection, and then obviously your piercing's not gone through because there's no deletion. Yeah, it's a bit of a menace. It is a bit of a menace, because it's not even like you could swing into the Were Garurumon. It'll do the ace and do its effects and so forth, and then negate the attack because, you know, battle protection. Shazam. My turn, please. So yeah, it's very annoying, and the fact that obviously the Were Garurumon, not the Were Garurumon, the Garurumon also has it as well. So as a result, there's little reason to use any other card, because the importance of this one card is so great. For the above reasons, we have decided to restrict this card to 1 per deck. Like, I feel like this, like, the whole design of this could have been negated straight off the bat, like, before it even dropped. It's like almost like they forgot that Greymon X antibody exists in that sense. And speaking of the other comrade, is going to be your Garurumon X antibody, which once again is following the same premise. I mean, when Digivolving draw 2, it's just once again facilitating the game plan. The consistency is just so freaking great at this point, and Melga had an amazing consistency beforehand. As soon as you see that boy push out, you know you're getting your face slapped. that's what's happening there. So reasoning behind this, this card alone allows altering one's hand to a great degree, and it offers greater consistency than is reasonable for decks than it can be useful. So yeah, a lot of basically, this alone just created that purple engine, which you just saw the JP meta just using. Like, Beelstar utilizing this. Obviously, a Pokemon utilizing this. Obviously, Melga rightfully should be utilizing this as its main archetype. It just did a lot. And it just felt like, why even run, like, in-house archetype cards that basically do what this does, but slower? in that sense. And this is why these are essentially restricting down to 1 realistically, because it just facilitates a lot of trash draw mechanics which just accelerate game plans way too quickly. So I understand that. I do understand that, but I think Melga is going to be okay. Blue base is still popping. And I think purple base will be okay. It'll be a little bit slow, but I think it will still slap. I think the community will still make that deck work for sure. So, Anubis Mom, here we go, EX5. So, this is the SR we hitting now. It's like, man, Bandai, honestly, ruthless today. So, Anubis Mom, I mean, once again, this was another one on the top meta contenders because of just what it provided, the immense swarm, all the good stuff. It definitely did a lot, and that, like I say, high board retention. This is what this card did. It was definitely cracked when it was printed, facilitating obviously that purple engine as well. Yeah, it's pretty easy why this got restricted to 1. But once again, it's kind of like, there's been a while since there's been a decent Anubis Mom printed, and this was pretty good Anubis Mom to be printed, and now it is reduced to 1. But we don't know what we are going to get in the next set. But let's see the reasoning of this. So, this card has high board retention and control due to its continuous play and removal effects, which greatly improves consistency, speed of the deck when combined with several other existing cards. There are very few deck types that can handle the speed, and currently this card reduces the space for choosing other decks. Other deck themes similar to board expansion effects, limiting the diversity of decks that you can use. For that reason above, we have decided to restrict this card to 1 per deck. So yeah, I can kind of see the reason of that. When you just see like the meta kind of just following the same kind of deck, it does get a little bit stale. But I mean, like, people will probably just now gravitate to Featherlugmon because Featherlugmon does its job pretty freaking well. And it's not necessarily got any form of hit. If anything, it's going to be even better now. Now that these contenders have gone, gives more reason for Featherlugmon to obviously tantalize the purple players even further. So yeah, unfortunately, you know, this brother had to be restricted to 1, and that's what we all got right there. So what are my thoughts to the restrictions? I mean, purple are getting hit. Just like back to back hits up in here. The Gabumon and the Garurumon, we all saw it coming. We knew that was going to go down. Didn't really see this one going down though, but I can understand why it has. It does a lot for the deck. Just like an on-play, it costs 3 to basically have to get that on-play there as well. It also gets to when Digivolving, which is great. Evo for 3 on top of Tsuyamon or Gabumon. So it's just like, yeah, absolute worth. This card is just too good. And that obviously that inheritable all turns. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Same again as well. All turns is just so powerful. It's so powerful. Ever just a phrase in general. But yeah, I can see why these two did get hit. I think the purple engine, when you notice that cards are just being like splashed into every deck, that's when you think, okay, it's a little bit overtuned. And this is what I fear with Ukomon at the moment, is the fact that it's getting splashed in so many freaking decks. I do fear that might get restricted to 1 if the community keep that up. Though I don't know what its main purpose is. I mean, Bandai surely should know that, or at least tested its whole mechanic. Obviously, a Pokemon, yep, I mean, this has been plaguing since it dropped. It is unfortunate that it is a sec, which, I mean, for EU players, this sale-wise is going to be very interesting about how this set's going to perform, because realistically, the only thing that we have to look forward to, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there is obviously the vaccine getting further support and other archetypes getting further support in there, but like the sec being sometimes a bit of a chase card on how you can make your money back. You ain't gonna get your money back if you pull a Pokemon. If you pull one alternate art Pokemon, you're sorted, you're crispy. But if you just keep pulling loads of them, that's gonna drop. That's gonna be pence. Because no one's gonna be playing the deck. Its main boss monster is down, and to recur it, I don't even know how you can even recur it. I'm not really familiar with the deck so far, but I do understand why it was restricted. Pokemon's a weird one. I definitely see the play. I mean, this would be just by far the best blue egg. Like, it's ensuring that we are actually going to use other blue eggs in the future. The fact that we can still run it at 1 is fine. I think Wanyamon still kind of then takes the best slot again, just for that draw. And most blue decks in this day and age are pretty much Tamer reliant, so it just makes sense to have Wanyamon still best in slot, and then slot this as a fifth egg. Hopefully they can get the freaking wording right, because it's like I say, every time I read it, I'm just more confused. How can I be more confused when reading the freaking art? I have no idea. But yeah, I think the bans, it was well just. I think they all are pretty valid reasons. Once again, I think Bandai just need to really think about the card design here, because once again, like, this is a given. Like, this right here is the Gabumon X. Like, yeah. Like you knew what you was doing. Like, you knew what you was doing when you were putting these cards. Like, it's not just a surprise. But I'm not a card designer, you know. I just play the game, I just make the content. So guys, that is your boy done. If you enjoyed the video and the reasons and all that good stuff, then make sure you drop it like standard. What do you think to the bans? Do you think it's well deserved? Do you think that some of them don't deserve to be on here? Drop it in the comments, let's have a discussion. But guys, stay safe, stay fly, and I'll catch you in the next one. Dread off the mic.